Hello, everybody. I am super excited for this live stream. I am pairing up with my friend Jenna Sinclair. She's an empowerment coach, minimalist, and self-proclaimed serene queen. So I'm really excited because we're going to be talking about money energetics, navigating the wobble that happens when you're an entrepreneur, and just making sure that you're showing up in full energy and you're ready to receive as much as the world can give you. So let me bring her up. Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Whereabouts are you?
I'm in the northeast of the United States.
Northeast.
So,
Oh, cool. Oh, nice. I'm in the southwest of England, so down in Cornwall.
okay, awesome.
Yeah. It's
So
great.
I just gave a little introduction to basically like your Instagram bio, but if you wanted to kick us off by telling the audience a little bit more about yourself, and then we can jump into money energetics and navigating the wobble that happens in entrepreneurship and anything else that comes alive during this conversation.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so I've been a coach since like 2018 with paid clients, and I've recently just reinvented my niche because I've gone through a whole transformation myself. And so I'm now working with female entrepreneurs who are basically stagnating in their business, who are looking to reignite their business fire and step into their badass next level energy, because that's what I've just done. And
Awesome.
it's just been incredible. I feel like I've quantum leapt in October last year, because I became a mum in April last year,
Congrats.
and that was a whole portal of like rebirth. Oh my god! And then we sold all our stuff and moved across the country. So that was like letting go of everything and basically just stepping into a whole new identity. And then since then, because we've gone through loads more change physically, it's just formed so much growth. You know, when you just let go, and then you just become, because you have to, as a result of letting go, this new stuff emerges and you allow it to just form you something completely new. So yeah, that's what I've been going through. So I'm like, I need to take all these other women that have been where I've been in this like zonked out kind of like really drained place, to reignite it and fall in love again with their business. Have you ever been in that place where you've just been like, what the hell, like why did I quit my job so I could feel drained?
Not quite for the same reason. So when I started my business, I went full time in 2020, and I doubled my income, my corporate income, within 6 months. So I like kind of had that, overnight success, so we want to call it that. But I was a social media manager when I was doing that, and I had people coming to me asking. I had freelancers and like coaches and stuff asking me, how did I do that? How did I find clients on social media? Because most people are finding them on Upwork and Fiverr. And I decided, with the help of my coach, I was like, okay, because I came from a teaching background. Don't know why I said corporate. It's just like the translation for most people. But I came from a teaching background, and I was like, yeah, I missed the teaching aspect. And I transitioned into coaching. And I had some success, like right off the bat. But then when I went to go launch my second time, it flopped. And that was my moment of, why did I quit my job to do this? Like, it's not predictable. I also had the moment of like, oh my God, I just got rid of all my done for you clients. Like, I let all those contracts fizzled out. It was a huge mistake, and I was really panicking. And it was a lot of, like you said, detaching and just like letting things flow, going with it, finding the things that I do love about it, to kind of pick myself back up again. And I had to do a lot of identity work too, because I had completely lost who I was. Because when I had my first flop launch, I was like, okay, clearly it's something I'm doing wrong. And I like started mimicking what other people are doing, and I, in the process, lost myself. So I think we have a lot of similarities that we can talk about on this live stream, but I'm really excited to dig into the topic of money energetics. So I'd love to hear, what that phrase means to you, because that's very broad. We can probably run an entire like 6-month program on money energetics alone. So I'd love to hear your take about that.
Yeah. I love this subject. It's so fun, and I think that's the energy that you need to have to play with and in the arena of money energetics, right? Keep it light. So I started using money energetics in around 2018, and that was a really big year. It was when I became a coach, and I did a quantum leap that year. Like I did it. Have you ever done it with the 2 glasses of water?
No?
Where you write, oh, try it. Just find it on YouTube. You basically write on a post-it note what you want. And I set it. I was like, I want to earn like I think it was 4K a month, which at the time was like major.
Yeah.
And I was like, I poured the original cup, which had the current place where I was at. So I used to be a teacher as well, teaching English online. I did that for a bit. And I think I was on like £400 a month, something really basic that enabled me to live in another country that was cheaper than the UK. And I poured one glass into the other glass. And it happened, right? Not straight away, but it became a reality. And then my income was sort of stuck there for a while. And I was like, this is so interesting. But at the same time as doing that, I did loads of affirmation work, loads of visualizations. I absolutely love little jingles that you can remember, like I love money because it comes when I call, or money comes to me. Then I experienced like an amazing manifestation where just manifested loads of money, and it was after I started doing this work. So I thought there's something definitely in this. I was reading a lot about Joe Dispenza, the work of him and the biology of belief and that kind of thing, and yeah, now it's become just fun to play with. And of course, we're going to talk about the wobble. Sometimes there's a wobble, but I find that if you can just step into that, I can afford it, and come at spending from that next level place of I've got loads of money, so why couldn't I afford this? Some people would call it irresponsible. Some people will call it frivolous, or if that's the right word, or just like basically not caring, and yeah. But I don't agree with budgets. I don't agree with like just playing it safe, really. I think if you can just spend money like you've got so much you don't know what to do with it,
Yeah.
and that's how the universe will respond. That's where I'm at with it. And so far in those all those years, it's been absolutely fine to do that, more so than before. Before I was even doing any of this affirmation work and energetics work, I was in a real pickle with money, and I didn't have cash flow, and I didn't have this level of income that I do now. So I think there's a definite, for anyone who's listening who hasn't done it or hasn't played with it or doesn't agree with it or doesn't know it, I would say just there's no harm in giving it a try. I don't want to tell anyone to be really irresponsible, but that's just how I roll, and it works for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a moment the other day when I was doing my taxes, because it's tax season over here. Well, it's over now, but I was doing my taxes and I owed money, and which is pretty classic as an entrepreneur. And I remember I was thinking back to the previous years when I had done taxes and I owed money, and I had this like huge, oh my God, like, panic. And I was all in my mind, and I was like, oh my gosh, definitely scarcity mindset. But then this year it was like, you quantum lep, you've reached the next level when you're just like, whatever, like it's money. I made money this year in my business, which is a win. And like money is meant to be spent. So who cares? Like I totally was just like, whatever. And it's so true what you said. Like sometimes it feels magical or feels like it doesn't make sense and you're being irresponsible, but that money does come back in some way. And I've found that with like a energetic thermostat. Have you read about that? Yeah. So like where your baseline is set at a certain point, and then if you choose to raise it, like no matter what happens, something happens to keep it
Yep.
at the same level, which is just mind blowing to me to watch in action, especially as an entrepreneur. because you're like, yeah, nothing happened for the first 2 weeks or whatever of my business. Oh no, you start to have those thoughts, the wobble, and then you're like, if you're good with money energetics, you stay firm with it and you just watch things come in, and it just magically goes to the number that you've set for yourself, or the limit that you've kind of been working around.
It's crazy. Yeah, so I completely understand that. And I've been noticing it recently. So since I came back after maternity leave, which was in October, I've been working like half the amount I was doing before, but it stays the same. And I'm like, what the hell? It's because it's set. It's because it was set. And it's fun that you can play with that. And yeah, I think if you also take care of your money, so one of the things I did ages ago, back in probably 2017, I wrote a letter to money. Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
It's from the Jen Sincero, You're a Badass at Making Money book. And it just completely revealed and exposed the current relationship that I had with money, and then healed it. It was like, oh, I'm sorry that I've been really disrespectful of you, but now I'm going to look after you. And I love even the little things like buy a nice wallet for yourself and keep your money feeling safe, or take care of it, or yes, release it, yes, spend it with the full faith that it's going to come back to you threefold, but also let it know that it's loved and take care of it and allow it to grow in another place. And it's been really nice to just sort of learn about what it likes, learn about what it needs, and nurture it in that way. But yeah, the thermostat thing is so interesting. Yeah, and I love like the work of Amanda Francis. Do you know her? Yeah, her work. Yeah, and her book Rich as Fuck.
Yeah, that book is awesome. Actually, I've been thinking about reading it again. I read it probably last year, maybe a year ago, about that. But I'm like, oh yeah, it's time to just refresh my memory. And some of those exercises in the books, because she ends every single chapter with an exercise, are so powerful. So even if you just skip to those exercises and you do the journaling prompts, you're going to get something out of that book.
Definitely. Yeah, and another one, if you've not read it, that I'm currently reading is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. It's got a purple cover.
I don't.
That's cool. It's got some really good exercises in there, and one of the ones that I really like is just next time you go to a restaurant, don't look at the prices at all. And this is a really fun game to play, and just to notice your subconscious beliefs that come up. You know, when you go shopping or something, or you start looking at, yeah, but that's more expensive, and you can start to choose, well, actually, I don't want to align with that belief. I can afford anything, so I'm just going to pick the cheese I want. I'm going to pick the meal I want from this menu, and it doesn't matter what it costs.
Yeah, that's super powerful. What would you say? I know you mentioned the cups of water exercises you did at the beginning, but what would you say your go-to exercise on like a day-to-day basis would be for money energetics as an entrepreneur?
On a daily
Yeah,
basis,
or like a weekly basis, like an everyday.
I love affirmation, so I'll probably do that at least once a week, in a meditation form. And then I would do something like, well, vision boarding. I've currently got a vision board as my screensaver of my laptop. But then another thing I like to do is to write reasons why I can have this amount. So that's quite powerful, because the problem solving mind, the scarcity mindset, whatever you want to call it, the chimp or the gremlin is quite powerful, isn't it? So if whatever you can do to just write down, or to just redirect that thinking into why it's possible and believe in possibility, the better. So yeah, affirmations, or just written new beliefs, basically. How
Yeah,
about?
like yeah, I would say so. For me, I have noticed that meditations, at least sitting meditations, the classic ones that you think of, don't work as well for me. But something that I've been really loving and have seen a positive effect of is walking meditations, where I have been basically every morning going for about an hour. I think it's like 2 miles. Walk just like out my door. I'm very fortunate. I live very close to a bike path, so I can walk through nature on this like paved path, and there's so many birds singing, and I usually do it in the morning when the sun's shining. And while I'm doing that, I will think about one thing, but usually ends up being way more than one thing that I'm grateful for. And I think like past me, younger Hannah would think like, well, I'm grateful that I have a house. I'm grateful that I have this relationship. I'm grateful, and just kind of list things on the surface level. But this is the thing that's shifted now, is looking at the very fine, minute details that I'm grateful for. So this morning, for example, I was talking about or to myself, I was talking to myself about how I'm really grateful that my Instagram is taking off, and that I'm doing all these collabs with wonderful women in my space, and I'm just getting to know more people, and that like this one particular strategy that I've been working on is really doing well, and that I'm like so in love with my content. So like just saying that to myself perks up my energy. It makes me feel like I am a rock star, that I can do anything. And it goes way deeper than just like the normal things that you think you should be grateful for, because those are a given. Of course, you're grateful for them, but like think about the little tiny details that you often overlook, like that one follower that you just got, or that one client that you just got. Even if it's $97 for your membership, it's still like, it's such an amazing,
Yeah.
amazing thing to celebrate. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really, really down with that. Celebrating the small wins and also having gratitude for things in the future. So, like reverse engineering time and just going back to money energy. Another thing that I wanted to say was something that's happened recently is being able to say no to the wrong money,
Mm,
money that doesn't align with you, money that doesn't align with your energy and really like boost you as align with who you want to be and how you want to spend your time and energy. And yeah, what that does to be able to say no to large amounts that are coming from the wrong place puts you in another position of abundance,
yeah.
basically, because that's a really empowered place to get to. So yeah, I would highly recommend saying no to the wrong money. If that feels like a stretch, do it. But yeah, it's all about energy, of course, because money is energy, money is love. And if you can be in that right energy, like you said, going for that walk, sending out those gratitude
Yeah.
signals, being grateful for you're going to be in that magnetism of love, and that's what's going to bring more money energy to you. So it's all related.
Yeah. I'd love to expand on what you just said about saying no to the wrong kind, or the money that you don't want, that's going to drain you, especially as entrepreneurs. And if you're a beginner entrepreneur and you are really dependent on the clients that you're signing to pay your bills or whatever, saying no to someone who's not aligned can feel really scary. It could feel like, well, what if no one else comes, or what if this is as good as it gets? And I just recently had to say no to a client who wanted to join my mini mind because she just wasn't the right vibe. I just could tell that she was going to drain energy and take the action that I want the girls in that program to have.
Yeah.
And I not like I this sounds like I'm lying, but I kid you not. As soon as I said no to that person, I had a one-on-one client to be more than this client would have been. So it like you just have to trust us and take that leap of faith. And it's really important to know who you want to work with as an entrepreneur, who is a dream client, but also who is like a dread client, as I call it, is someone you definitely don't want to work with. And trust me, they're out there. There are people that you don't want to work with, and that's okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it literally happened to me a couple of weeks ago. And there was an offer, and I was like, oh, this sounds amazing. But then I thought about it and I trusted my reactions. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to spend time. It just doesn't feel right. The energy of this client doesn't feel right. And I know that there'll be more money coming. If I say no, I'm making space for what I actually want to bring in. And it happened to me in 2020. So in 2020, I was having a bit of a wobble with my coaching business, and I was like, I miss being around people. I'm sick of working from home, so I went and worked in a supermarket for a summer, mostly to be around other people. But when I realized, like, what the hell are you doing? This wage. Yes, it has been a little bit fun, but what the hell are you doing? You're a coach. And I quit, my income tripled. And I was like, that's proof. And clear the way. You clear the way and you make that space and you tell the universe, that's it, I'm back. I've made all this space. I've got all these hours now, right, available. Send it to me. And it comes in. So it's, yeah, I'm getting really, really choosy now with who I work with because everything is energy. And I think that energy is more valuable than time, and energy is more valuable than money because it is the source of everything. So, yeah, that's been a fun thing. But yes, when you're starting out, of course, it can feel really, really scary. And for ages, I didn't. And I said yes to everything. And I got to that point where I was like, I'm really drained. This is not right. This is not why I chose to be an entrepreneur and quit my job. I'm basically just in an elevated 9 to 5 and working. I'm saying yes to loads of different types of coaching and loads of different clients that were not my choosing. And it's just draining. I'm coming away at the end of the day feeling absolutely drained. So now I'm really set and I'm like, no, I'm going to choose, I'm going to cherry pick, and right for me, then I'll say no to the money. And I just trust and know that it comes back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a really great question, but before I do that, I want to talk about the strategy because I am a strategy loving girl. I love teaching this to my clients because this has been such a easy way for me to detach from this concept of, like, oh no, well, what if I lose this person or if I don't get someone and replace it? Structuring my offers to have a entry level offer my offer staircase, entry level, mid ticket, and high ticket, which is pretty classic. But my entry level has zero commitment from me. It's already built out. It's a membership, and having this place where I can, if someone comes to me and they're like, "Hey, I want to join your one-on-one," and I'm having a conversation with them, and I just don't think they're a good fit for it yet, I can send them to the membership where they can learn my philosophy, they can learn the general, my general formulas and the things I stand for. And they almost get trained to be a dream client by working up my offer pipeline because they do the membership, then they jump into the mini mind and they jump into whatever other programs I have after that, right? And by the time they everything, okay, now they're an amazing, beautiful fit for my one-on-one, and I'm excited to work with them. But if they were to come in right off the bat, I would have said yes to them for that cash injection, ignoring my instincts and everything. They would have drained me. I would have, ended calls feeling frustrated. And now I get to fully see them and honor them as a person because I didn't just I wasn't just hungry for the money. I respected where they're at in business and I brought them along for the journey, So
yeah,
there are things you can put in place to create those dream clients and not just say like, oh no, I don't want to work with you. I'm, calling in this high ticket money because I think a lot of people see coaches as greedy sometimes for charging high prices and saying no to people who aren't perfect fits. But at the end of the day, there are ways to get around that too when you structure things well. Okay.
That's really nice. I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So the question is from J3D is, do you believe in the concept where some of us live in financial plentiful spaces while others live in financial deficit? Could it be we are where we're at based on life lessons? I'm curious if you want to go first.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of it involved with family karma and subconscious around what we believe, and also loyalty to the problem. So if we come from a place of scarcity, I came from a place of scarcity. I grew up in relative poverty, and I think a lot of the time there is subconscious loyalty to the problem because you don't want to break away from the family unit. You don't want to out succeed possibly your parents because it is triggering to that survival part of you that is still thinking I'm dependent on them. I think you can train your mind. I think you can be stuck in it, but you can definitely break out of it. You can train your mind to do and believe and think and then experience new realities 100%. It's just a case of persistence and looking for the evidence that it's working, because we have this subconscious bias, that confirmation bias, constantly looking for evidence that our current beliefs are still true. So it takes effort, doesn't it, to think, okay, let me try to see what is changing here and look for those twigs, as Gabby Bernstein calls them, or glimmers, as they've been called recently, you know, just things that are signs that things are changing. For example, if you find a penny on the floor, pick it up. Have gratitude. Oh my God, I'm receiving money. Money comes to me easily from unexpected sources. Affirm it. And then that is how you start to slowly change these beliefs. And yeah, that's what I would say about it. What would you say?
Yeah, I would say I definitely acknowledge privilege, and there are people who are born into families that have more money than other people. But I think it's interesting because I also grew up not poverty, but middle class, and I had an like a 5 year timeline in my childhood where money was really tight, and all my friends at school were buying like new name brand clothes, and I was going to the thrift store, and I felt bad about that, you know. But I think it's really interesting that so many entrepreneurs come from this background where money was scarce, and we didn't grow up super privileged and, you know, in a mansion with like everything provided for us. So it just goes to prove that you can be in control of your finances. And one thing that really helped me was just being aware of the subconscious thoughts that go through my mind around money. So, you know, phrases like money doesn't grow on trees is ingrained in your brain from a very young age from parents who are just trying to survive. And from like the age of 3 or whatever, maybe even younger, you're trained to realize that money is hard to come by. And then you become an adult and everything is affirming because you get into a job that's not paying very well, and you're trying to pay your rent and all these bills, and it's like, right, money come by. But once you once you come aware of the thoughts that are going through your head, the sayings that you've been saying since childhood, and then once you start to switch this, you realize that you have more control over it than you think. um, and that definitely isn't easy as someone who's, you know, still coming out the other side of the money doesn't grow on trees timeline. But you know, once you grow and you get to this level of awareness, you're like, oh wait, wow, yeah, your words, your thoughts have so much more impact on you than you
Oh
think.
my God, yeah. And I think one of the main things that really changed for me is realizing that if you're in a victim mindset, then you're not going to make money. So breaking out of that, and that was actually one of the things in the Secrets of the Millionaire Mind book. One of the first chapters in there says the same thing. You know, you can't be a rich victim. You have to take responsibility. So that's something that you can do with your thoughts, is take responsibility for your thoughts, become aware of them first of all, through things like meditation. That's how I became aware of them, and then consciously choose them. It's not as easy as it sounds at
Yeah,
all,
it sounds so easy, but it really is.
but
It
it
takes work.
takes work. Like literally
Yeah.
daily awareness of meditate, like through meditation. And then yeah, I went to this amazing money workshop when I was in LA in 2018, and it was like rate all these beliefs. It had things like money doesn't grow on trees, money's the root of all evil, um, rich people are bad, or things like that. And if I have money, then I'll lose it, or I don't know what to do with it, or um, I don't like money. And it just gets you to rate like how much you believe these things, and then it generates such great awareness of what's really going on under the surface, and then you can start to switch your beliefs, reframe it, choose what you want to believe, and that's just so powerful. But yeah, of course, it's all relative, isn't it? But you definitely can create wealth. And I think it's Warren Buffett. When I was talking to my friend about saying no to money, she was saying that's how Warren Buffett got so rich. He started being really intentional and saying no to the wrong kind of money, and just getting really clear on what he wanted to be in. So there's a lesson.
Yeah, and the victim mindset comes up in more places than you realize. As an entrepreneur, you're constantly most people are out there looking for like the strategy that's going to fix things, that's going to help them get success. But oftentimes, the work that you need to be doing the most is this energetic work, the mindset work around money, around your own personal power, around your confidence. Because I can't tell you the number of people that come into my inbox and they tell me the algorithm is out to get me, help me, you know, like that is so you're so much in that victim mindset. And when you take control of and you own your results that you're getting. Like I work really deeply with content and messaging, and once you own, okay, my post did poorly because it wasn't a very good post. Let's work on making it let's go deeper, let's make it stronger, let's fix this, let's see what our community is asking for. And once we start creating with our community, try again. Oh wow, it did a little bit better. So it's not the algorithm, it's, you know, we have to take radical responsibility. And honestly, that's one of the like most powerful things you can do, is take radical responsibility in every aspect of your life, from the results that you're getting to the finances to whatever it may be.
Yeah, and that when you're speaking about that, it reminds me of the, you know, the to me consciousness and the for me consciousness and the as me consciousness. So this,
Yeah.
you know, this whole thing, and victim mindset is so sneaky, isn't it? It slips in and you think you've got it nailed, and then you're like, oh, that didn't work. Why is this happening to me? Like, why? Yeah, like, why does the algorithm hate me? Why is this, why is no one doing this or this happening? And then you realize, okay, I have a responsibility here, and you choose again and again and again to take responsibility, and that's your personal power coming back. But it is so easy to just slip into to me, everything's happening to me, when you are co-creating it. Like, you're choosing it, even if it's not what, even if the algorithm isn't liking you, you're choosing that on some subconscious level. So
Right.
what is it giving you? What's the secondary gain that it's giving you? Like, I love looking at that as well, you know, looking at the existential kink of it. Why are you choosing your problems? What are you getting from them?
Yeah. 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 This conversation is so powerful, and it's always good to, I find myself having like spaces and places where I can plug in to get reminded of these things, because it's so easy to get on autopilot. And even when you're doing the work and you're growing, it's still good to plug back in. You know, even I like doing this as well, especially because I'm on TikTok. I don't know if you're on TikTok at all, but they show you your post. And by going to your post from last year, you can see how much you've grown and how much you've changed. And that also helps me like realize, you know, probably the same thing happens if you're journaling every day. I'm not a huge journaler. I'm more vocal, so I like to leave myself voice notes. But like just seeing the shift that you can make in a year, in a month, and 2 years, 5 years, you know, like you've grown so much and you continue to grow when you take action. But when you're like just sitting in the victim mindset, oh, everything's happening to me, why is everything so hard? Then you don't see that growth as much as you want to.
And that's why it's so important to celebrate the wins daily. So I'm doing a daily practice now in the evening, celebrating business wins. And yeah, it's just redirecting your thoughts, isn't it, of what's working well. And I love helping people break out of the drama triangle, you know, with the victim, the rescuer, and the villain. And the question to ask in all three of those positions is, well, what do I want? What would I like to have happen? And reconnecting to the vision instead of the what's not working. It's, what do I want again? Let's just stay focused this way, because that's where I'm going and that's what I want. And yeah, looking back, I think it would be a really good practice. I might start doing that actually, is to look back to, you know, every so often and say, how far have I come from here and here and here? And it's, yeah, it's a really good practice. But daily wins are also really fun,
Yeah.
because they seem really tiny, don't they? But they all add up.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with our practices. It doesn't have to take hours every day. It probably shouldn't. It probably should be a tiny little thing that you do in the moment when you realize this subconscious belief is coming up, and you shift it and you redirect it, and then you celebrate your wins. You know, it doesn't have to be you sitting in a meditation for 3 hours to do this money energetic work, or just energetics in general. It gets to be easy, and it's the practice of listening to your thoughts and being aware, and, you know, changing them as they, with them popping up, not being like, oh, I messed up again, I had this thought again, and being resistant to it. Just being like, okay, I hear you, thank you, but we're going to think this instead. It does. I think a lot of people are always like, well, give me the 6 hour training, give me the meditation, whatever, and then I'm fixed. But it's an ongoing thing that's going to outlast your business, probably, that you're going to bring into when you're elderly and you're you know, just living your best life with your partner or whoever you are with. But like it comes with us, and it's a beautiful gift once you learn how to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely priceless, and not just a quick fix course. You have to become someone who does that, don't you? You can't just rely on a single behavior. You have to become someone who has that as a habit, someone who makes that a daily practice, someone who values it, someone who stops doing other habits that basically feed into it. But yeah, it is so powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other things that you want to add to the conversation that we haven't touched on yet?
Did we talk about the wobble?
Oh, not really.
Because
Talk about the wobble.
yeah, the wobble. It's funny, I've been talking to my coach about the wobble actually happening on a Sunday. She was like, it's really funny, it happens on a Monday. It happens on a Sunday and Monday because, we build momentum. I don't know about you, but you start the week and you build momentum and you're working, 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 and then it gets to the weekend and you kind of relax. And then on Sunday you're like, what was I doing again? What was I focusing on? Is that going to work? And then the wobble comes in and you're like, And I get it. I don't know if it's because I'm a Gemini or because I'm a manifesting generator or because I'm a 3-5 or any of this, but I get ideas and I get so many of them. And then I'm like, I want to go this way. And I go this way really fast for a short amount of time. And then I pivot and I'm like, nope, this way. And it's so I'm training myself to just choose one thing and stay with it and just give it time and hold on whilst the wobbles happen, which I'm sure they are going to, and just stay with it. And it's hard because I find it really hard to niche, and I think it's because we are multidimensional beings. We're not just in the niche, we are capable of so much more. And so yeah, I think that's what brings about the wobble in me as an entrepreneur. But that's not to say that I can't be a multidimensional being that's a fully passionate creative entrepreneur and have a niche for a little bit of time and have a niche for a longer amount of time and go deeper, and then just watch as it evolves and flexes. So yeah,
Yeah.
the wobbles all around.
Well, it's interesting that you are a manifesting generator because honestly, those pivots, I've done a lot of work in human design, and those pivots are necessary for your growth, right? So I don't know if you've worked with a human design mentor or anyone in that capacity where they can give you some more strategies behind of like the when you want to change directions, like what's the best pathway. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm a 1-3, so we've got the 3 in common. The 3 is the mark, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So failure is super big for us. And that's something that I've had to come to terms with because I, growing up, hated failure. I was type A, perfectionist, overachiever, and always trying to do better. I've done a lot of work around healing the I'm not enough wound. And realizing once I realized that, because I'm an investigative martyr, so it means I have to like learn by failure, basically. And once I learned that this was written in my design, it was such a wave of relief because I realized that I am meant to fail, and that's okay. It's okay to fail because I then become a really great teacher for it because I can then teach others through my own failures. So now every single time, this is talk about redirecting during the wobbles, when I'm feeling like everything's going wrong, when I feel like things are edgy and I'm failing, I'm like, wait, this is a new lesson that I can then teach my clients and people around me. But it took a while for me to accept that and be like, it's okay. Like I have the tendency, I'm a generator, but I also make moves really, really fast. And I have the tendency when things are like going for a while and I'm doing the work and it doesn't seem like it's working per se, I'll be like, well, we can just focus on this thing or instead, or I'll change directions. But I just on my walk this morning was like, should I like focus more on Instagram because that's working and like kind of give up TikTok a little bit or pull back from TikTok? And I had a wait a minute, because it's edgy, because this thought's coming up, I should double down on TikTok. Actually, I should go in more.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's such a nice capture of it and a nice way to take the power back. It's yeah, I haven't delved that much. Like I've never worked with a mentor or a coach on the human design front, but I think with same in terms of like, I'm meant to have all these experiences so that I can teach people about them.
Mhm.
That's definitely in my profile. I'm a 3-5, so the other part, heretic. So it basically just means go and do like loads of wacky, be the first one to go and do loads of crazy stuff, and then get loads of experiences and then teach people the way through that. And yeah, there's also similarities in the background as well. I grew up as an overachiever and healed a lot of the same wounds, and it's just interesting now to be like, okay, it's fine to fail, but it's not failing, is it? It's just redirection, like
Yeah,
always. It's just
exactly.
realignment. And I've really come to a place of being like, this is happening for me. Like anything really that's going on that seems like, well, something that would have affected me in the past, like a failure, it's like, oh, that's fine because I know it's for my higher good. It's for my highest good. So yeah, it's a nice place to be.
Yeah. So for anyone, because wobble is inevitable, for anyone that is maybe going through one of their first wobbles or going, back into a wobble, what's a piece of advice? I think maybe we already said this before, but what would you tell them right now?
Um, I would ask them to write down like 100, no, not 100, that's a lot. Write down like 10 reasons why it can work,
Mm,
and go and take some big scary action that makes you back yourself, like fully believe in yourself, and continue practicing the affirmations because they work, and have compassion for your inner critic because it just wants to love you. It wants to keep you safe in a loving way, but there's no point hating on it because that's just shutting a part of yourself down. So see it, acknowledge it, compassion for it, and then just gently redirect it in another way, in another direction.
yeah, I'm smiling so hard. That was so lovely. I love that advice so much. And that when you write down the 10 reasons or 100, if you want to take that challenge, of why it could work, you enter into that positivity spiral. I don't know if that's the name for it, but the positive what if spirals of like, well, what if this happens and this happens and this happens, and it's the negative effect of the, well, what if this happens and this happens and everything fails. And once you get into that spiral, it's like nothing can be stopped. Like you can't be stopped. The actions that you take afterwards are 10 times more potent.
Yeah,
You're infectious. People are hopping in to your DMs like, I don't know what happened, but you seem like something shifted and I just can't resist but come in and say something, like it's truly, if you ever feel like you are in a wobble, or if you woke up on the wrong side of the bed or whatever and you're feeling a little low, get yourself into one of those. Just like gas yourself up, hype yourself up. And it's not about being toxic and positive, like toxic positivity. It's not about that, but more of like reminding of yourself that you can do this and you're doing it for a reason and you're good at what you do. um I have something I call my confidence vault, which is basically this giant Google folder of every single comment, screenshot, message I've gotten from a client, comments that I've gotten on my post, my own analytics that I'm proud of, whatever it may be, just in there. And whenever I'm feeling a little doubty or things are starting to spiral a bit, I go in there and I'm like, oh, right. I
yeah,
know I get people amazing results. I'm a badass. And then it's just like a magic switch. Instead of being like, oh, I can't do this, let's go sit on the couch and have a lazy day. I'm like, let's go create a piece of content. Let's get out there. Let's do a live stream. It's so amazing how fast you can shift your energy and your reality.
absolutely. Yeah, I've got the same. I've got a
Yeah,
document that compiled all of my testimonials and all that positive feedback because that's the truth. That's the objective evidence that your
exactly.
inner critic doesn't want you to believe. But when you think about your inner critic, it's just opinion. So it's like hit it with some truth. Keep that in your mind. Keep exposure to that truth. And another thing that I shared recently on my Instagram was a little trick. Put as a background of your phone a question that you that okay, how do I explain it? So instead of the thoughts of why it's not working,
Mm-hmm.
have a question like, why are all these soul clients flooding to me right now? Something that you're really, really excited about, something that you're really, really obsessed with. and excited to have happen, why am I making 50K a month? Oh my God, like how has it happened? Some crazy wild thing, doesn't have to be crazy or wild, but just something that you want to be true, and just have that as a question. And your subconscious mind then starts to answer it by orchestrating reality. I just love it. I love all this stuff. It's so exciting.
Right, because it's something like your brain doesn't recognize fake things from real things.
No,
So if you that question, it will try to find proof for you, right? So you'll show up more as if you're making 50K. You'll take actions as, yeah, that's really cool. I might actually do that and put that question on my own profile or whatever it's called, wallpaper.
yeah, you just become someone who, and it's at this identity level. And that's what I love taking my clients through. How do you become that person, the person who believes that? And it's all about training your mind. So yeah, as if you can do that, it's just subliminal. You open your phone so many times and you keep seeing it, but you don't realize you keep seeing it, and then it's just constantly ticking over in your mind. And when you're asleep, why is this happening? How is this happening? And then you start getting answers as your brain starts problem solving it. It's amazing.
That's super cool. Yeah. So I feel like if anyone's watching this or they're listening to the replay, that's your challenge of just
Mhm.
ask yourself a question, whatever your goal may be right now for this upcoming quarter or month or whatever, and set that as your phone's wallpaper and just see what
See what
happens. I think
happens?
it's cool.
Why not?
You're,
Keep it light, keep it fun. Yeah, and that's the money energetics energy, isn't it? It's not this dense heaviness. It's the anything is possible. I'm here to have fun. I'm here to just keep things easy, and it gets to be easy.
yeah. I,
I feel
I,
like we could talk all day about this.
yeah. Well, if anyone's watching this has any questions, I'm sure we would love to answer. Otherwise, we can start wrapping things up. I have honestly loved my time speaking with you, and I would love to do another live stream sometime in the future. Maybe we can swap stages and you can be the leader this time. Is there any last minute things you want to talk about?
No, I think that's good. Yeah, I've just loved talking to you, and I feel like we could and should talk more about this kind of thing. It's just so flowing, and
Yeah.
it's just, I just love it. It's just endless, and it's so expansive, and just talking about it is just so fun. So, yeah, for anyone that's watching the replay, just try it. Just try money energetics. There's nothing to lose. I mean, apart from some money, but you won't.
Yeah.
I think so.
Uh, I'm sure you feel the same way, but if anyone's watching this and wants to send us in a DM their biggest takeaway, I'm sure we would both love to continue the conversation in the
Yeah.
DMs. So go follow us. Go follow us if you don't already follow us. And yeah, stay tuned because do you have any like free things that you want to pitch right now or anything like that?
Three things. So I'm currently working on a mini mind that is going to be for femalepreneurs that want a quantum leap. It's not going to be free, but I do have some free meditations over on Insight Timer. Um, and yeah, of course, I've got my coaching program, which is 3 months basically, and that's opening. I think there's a spot opening at the end of May. So yes, that's me at the moment. The mini mind is the next thing coming up. But yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I am so happy got to do this, and I hope you have a good rest of your night. Right, it's
Yeah,
7:30ish. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
yeah. Great to see you. Bye.